Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to... What are you doing, hand? Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back... Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction and commentary video. This is... Now, my right one's doing it. This is to... episode 14, I think, of MLP FiM. Episode 14, The Cart Before the Ponies. Now, I know this is a Kingdom Hearts Crusader episode, which is interesting, but whenever I think of carts, for some reason I think of Super Mario Kart, so yeah. Let's just get on with this and see exactly what this is, shall we? Full screen. What just happened? Wrong full screen button. Start the video. Let me double check, make sure everything's still going. You still going? Good. Good. You're still going good. Good, good, good. Okay, starting the video in 3, 2, 1, click. It crashed. Ha ha ha! I restarted it! Suck it! Start the video again in 3, 2, 1, click.
Every pony. I hope you brought your thinking caps, because today we're going to learn about physics. Specifically, the use of force in energy conversions. In this case, using mechanical work to convert potential energy into kinetic energy.
The what now?
Okay.
Cheerily? That sounds a bit over our heads. Yeah, why would we even need to know that stuff?
Oh, it's very important. In fact, you'll most likely end up using it tomorrow.
Tomorrow? What for?
Why?
Pop quiz!
Participating in the Applewood Derby!
A soapbox derby race? Oh, this is gonna be good.
Oh, phew. For a second, I thought we were gonna have to, you know, learn stuff.
Okay. Anyway, okay. First off, I want to say I think it's really cool that they're talking about physics like this in the show. I don't know if you could say that it's a bit of a more challenging or a more difficult or hard to understand topic for some, but for some younger individuals, yeah, it would be. So I think it's interesting that they're actually doing that in this. That was adorable.
Now hold on to your horseshoes, every pony. You've got a lot of work to do before you're ready to race.
Yeah, but not schoolwork, right?
That was cute.
Just like this one waiting for you at Sweet Apple Acres tomorrow. And you've got 1 day to turn it into a race-ready cart.
Oh, yeah. That is a lot of work.
Luckily, you'll each get to pick an older pony to help you.
Oh, okay.
But choose wisely, because they'll also have to ride in the cart with you during the race.
Oh, okay.
I think I know just the pony to ask. Me 2! Me 3!
I know who they're going to get. They're going to
Just
get their
remember,
sisters.
every pony, your cart has to be able to finish the race if you want to win one of the awards. Fastest, for winning the race, naturally. Most traditional, for the best working replica of an original Applewood cart. And most creative, for the cart with the best overall design.
Oh,
It sounds like a car
those
show.
ribbons are the bee's knees.
All right then, class. You've got a lot to learn if you want to build a race cart.
Call up Gas Monkey Garage.
Oh, I knew there was gonna be a catch.
That's your best bet. Call up Gas Monkey Garage.
Wow! Have you seen what the carts used to look like in the olden days? Yeah, I know all about them.
Oh my gosh.
When started the derby, they decided to use the wood from our apple trees for the carts. The race has been a part of Sweet Apple Acres ever since. I just think these old carts look so cool. But I guess you and Applejack will probably win the award for most traditional, huh? The apples usually do, but honestly, I'd rather build the fastest cart there is and win the race. But I'm pretty sure Scoot and Rainbow Dash will take that award. You know, I race around so much on my scooter, being the fastest isn't such a big deal. Maybe I'll try to make the wildest looking cart I can think of. Really? Sure. If I win most creative, you can totally win the award for fastest. And I can win the award for most traditional.
I also think it's right now cool that they're not actually focusing on their cutie marks. That there's just that was awesome. And at that moment, I could hear the maturity
Are you kidding?
in Apple Bloom's voice.
I'll help with the Applewood Derby. I want you to have as much fun as I did when I was a filly. Wait, Cloudsdale has a derby too?
Sure, practically every town in Equestria has one.
I still remember racing my cloud cart.
We never had one.
He's so awesome!
Oh wow! Whoa, man! Try that on Rainbow Ride.
And let me guess. You won fastest cart.
Obviously.
So, what do you say? Will you help me make my race cart?
Help you? I'm all over it. I've got tons of ideas.
Don't worry. I've got a lot of ideas of my own.
Shit. Oh, I think I have an idea.
The blueprint for my derby cart, of course. I'll have to change it a little because this race is on roads, not on clouds. But trust me, your cart is gonna be amazing.
Okay, Rainbow.
I think I get the idea.
How awesome is this?
Rainbow is probably going to build it the way she wants it, not the way Scootaloo wants it. And I imagine Applejack and Rarity are going to do the same thing.
Applewood Derby did start on our farm. I know.
They're going to be about the competition, and the fillies just want to have fun, so yeah. That's just a theory.
I was kind of thinking of something else. Like fastest?
Fastest? Apple Bloom, things aren't like they were in the old days. The fastest cart now has got to be slick and modern.
Exactly.
Not Apple at all. The apples win most traditional. We have since the Derby started. Why would
You know, I have a strange sense of relatability
Now, why don't you head off
with
and get
this
some chamomile vines
in terms
so
of
we
going
can
to car
stick you some
shows.
apple barrels,
I just
and
have a
I'll show
strange
you
sense
what
of
an apple
relatability
family
for
cart
this.
should look like.
I guess I do have a family tradition to uphold.
The Applewood Derby! Of course I'll help.
Wow.
And Rarity is going to go for most exotic
I'm just
design.
itching to right an old wrong from long ago. I designed my own cart when I was just a filly, and I was positive I was going to
Wow.
win the prize for most creative hooves down.
That looks like the toy that they sold
But
in
I
the stores.
came Second.
Oh my gosh!
You? Second for most creative? To whom?
Derpy! Yes!
I learned to know my audience, and the race.
Oh my gosh!
They want bold. Chop, chop, everybody up.
Derpy, congratulations.
This will take all of my considerable skills. I will fashion the biggest.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Ever win the prize for most creative? Actually, I was sort of thinking of something more traditional.
Yep.
Please, darling, leave tradition to the apples. We're doing big. We're doing bold.
Why do I get the feeling the mayors are going to get into a competition themselves?
You mean my hooves?
Yes, that's what I said. My hooves. Darling, I hope you're ready to get an early start tomorrow.
I think I'm right.
How early?
Oh no. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm not a morning person either. I'm not.
Rarity, the sun's not even up yet.
Oh,
Just working on it.
quit complaining. In my day, we were up even earlier. Hey, I get up in the middle of the night if it means my cart crosses that finish line first and wins fastest.
Can I say something?
And my cart wins most creative.
And my cart wins most traditional.
Can I?
Ooh-wee, it's gonna be a good day.
You mean our carts, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we said, darling.
Yep.
Our carts.
I think you girls might as well just go ahead and build your own, separate from them.
Their carts
Yes.
It almost sounds like they're planning on building them without us.
Yep.
I'm sure they meant our carts.
No, they didn't.
Like the teen cart.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Of course. I mean, they're all our older sisters. Practically. Plus, they've all done this before. I'm sure they know best. Let's just buckle down and get to work.
Oh, cute designs for them. I like that. Very cute.
Scootaloo, where have you been? I've only got till noon to make the fastest cart ever. About that, I was really thinking of going for the most creative prize. I mean, I know all about speed already, so...
Exactly. It's all about speed. We've got to get across the finish line to win a prize, so we might as well get there first, right? Hey, I left a bunch of paint cans by the road. Bring them up here, would you? Nothing as fun as painting racing stripes on the winning cart.
I think it's cool she's wearing like gloves.
Right.
Work gloves. I think that's cool. That's unique.
Spending time building the cart with my big sister?
Okay.
This is just terrific.
Oh boy.
How can I help?
You can feast your eyes on this. I mean, it ain't quite finished yet,
Oh, good.
but don't it have the makings of the best cart you ever did see? Is something wrong, Apple Bloom?
Actually, I was kind of thinking of something a little more modern and less rickety. With maybe a chance of winning?
Bless
Cute.
my hooves, I thought we covered this. Tradition is all that counts. And
Oh,
who
boy.
knows tradition better than apples? No, Pony, that's who. So, are you an apple or are you an apple?
Really? Wait,
I'm
what?
an apple, but what if I just take off this fringe?
No,
I wouldn't
friend.
do that.
Ugh, why, shoot. Now I've got to start all over from scratch. And it's almost race time.
Oh, so maybe we can redesign it then.
Just a few nails, and I'm sure that it'll be good.
And who'd want to redesign something that's already
How about some
perfect?
Loctite?
Right. Perfect. Okay, so I sketched out some of my ideas. How about a nice yellow fringe on top?
Oh, darling.
The fringe is not exactly big, and that yellow is the least bold color I can imagine.
Oh no.
Well, it doesn't
You're not
have
make
to be
you're
yellow,
making a cart,
but
not
I
a
really
braid
do
float.
love the old-timey style, like this.
I think it's.
Sweet.
I got an idea.
Precious
Whenever they're
face.
built, just
Oh,
switch carts. How about
tiny is
that?
just another word for passé. Remember
Just switch
big
carts.
And bold. I do have a reputation to uphold. It was one thing to lose as a filly, but can you imagine if I didn't win the most creative now? Ponies might
It's
stop buying my couture.
Not you.
But we're supposed to be doing this together. Yes, of course we are, darling. In fact, we just finished. I know. You're speechless. Well, if that isn't big and bold, I don't know what is.
It's the theme park ride.
Right. Wonderful.
Okay, I like that design. That's cool. I like. Okay, I do like the design that Rainbow has there for that. That's cool. I like it. I also think it's kind of cool, kind of interesting. Tires with rubber. Put a spoiler on it. Reduce drag. And it's gone. Nice flames. And it's gone. Okay, I will admit, I do like the old style, like, for that. I mean, I'm a kind of a traditionalist myself, so I do appreciate, you know, the old-fashioned design, but... Highway to Danger Zone. Derpy! That's Derpy. That's Derpy. That's Derpy. That's cool.
Hey, Crusader.
Just
How's it
switch.
going?
Switch.
Rarity's definitely made the biggest, boldest cart any pony's ever seen.
Just switch.
Wow. Well, Applejack's built something so traditional, it's practically an antique.
Put antique plates on it.
No matter what I say? There's no talking Rainbow Dash out of making the fastest cart in Equestria.
Doesn't look like any of us ended up with what we wanted.
Nope.
But I'm sure our older sisters know what they're doing. Right? Right.
For themselves,
And
yes.
even if our carts aren't exactly what we had in mind, it'll still be fun to drive them to the finish line.
Sure, the race is the best part.
Yeah, CMC's behind the wheels.
Yeah!
Derby racers to the starting line! Derby racers
Oh boy.
to the starting line!
The race is about to start, Scootaloo. You better shake a leg if you want to ride in the winning
How's that moving? I don't even see your legs.
There's only one seat left aboard this creative masterpiece.
Wait.
And it's just for you. Woo!
How are...
Whoa, ponies, wait for me! This traditional cart handles at the exact perfect pace. Slow. And I got the passenger seat all warmed up for you, Apple Bloom.
Passenger seat.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow, that looks nice. Derpy!
They're the only older ponies driving.
That's not dinky.
First they
Eh,
built the
oh well.
carts, now they're gonna drive them? I know they were all excited.
Aren't you
help,
supposed
but
to?
I don't think they're really helping anymore. We better hurry if we want to be a part of this race at all.
Surely.
Aren't you all missing something?
Oh my gosh, the fan art for that.
And usually the younger ponies drive the carts.
Darling, do these look like usual carts to you?
I hope Derpy wins again. Oh, what the heck? Wait, that has a seatbelt? I like the design for that other cart right there, the red one. That's got to be my favorite one. It looks like a Sportster, like a Porsche Roadster or something. Oh, it's downhill. Okay.
Can't we go any faster?
Faster? Don't be silly. This is perfect.
Raindrops. So that's cool.
Check me out.
Oh, a song.
Racing the Derby. Check out my old-fashioned cart. Check me out. Racing the Derby in my original work of art. Check me out. Faster than
That looks like the toy Derby cars. That is so... That's got to be that design. That looks so cool. Actually, it kind of looks like the toy cars from Fallout, too. Byron Bonbon. Oh man, there's the fan art of that one.
My cart's the most original, designed with imagination. My cart's the most traditional, just plain no complications.
Look at me, I am the ace. Might as well keep going. Wish we could stop this race, start again and do it our way. Having any fun yet? Nope. Maybe if we could go a little faster.
That's fine. Okay. Okay, that's a cute camera angle. Okay. I think this is really cool.
Some attention if I want.
What? Hey! That's all derpy. Dang! What'd you do? Put nitrous oxide in that?
Guess I don't really care.
Ha
Since we're clearly gonna lose it.
See every pony's watching.
Derpy.
Presentation is our glory.
Just past you even faster. Speed is king.
In their Fallout car. Uh-oh. I think you got a bolt loose. Maybe a wheel bearing? A rainbow? Whoa! That's a... Oh, no. I remember this from that old PlayStation 1 game, Demolition Destruction Derby. Oh, you have insurance! Ah! Oh my gosh. Good thing every pony had their seatbelts.
Ugly duckling.
My old-time cart is a rootin' tootin' wreck.
Ah!
It still counts as a win if I push my cart across, right?
Nope. Those snap.
They're not your carts!
Derpy.
Huh?
I like her design.
We were supposed to design them. And we were supposed to drive them. The Derby was supposed to be for us, not the three of you. Now you've ruined it for every pony.
Derby.
Yes, well, I suppose
I really
we
like her
got
design.
teensy bit carried away.
But I
Teensy.
thought you all wanted our help.
Did.
Advice.
We wanted your help to build our carts, but we all ended up with
Supervision.
carts that are what each of you wanted.
Mm-hmm. Well, why didn't you say anything?
They tried.
You've all done the race before. I just figured you knew best.
Plus, it's hard to speak up to older ponies. Oh, I certainly understand that. But you mustn't think older ponies automatically know best.
And we probably could have done a better job of listening to you.
I guess we owe all three of you an apology.
Maybe
That's not
just
all
us.
the apologies you owe. You're disqualified, aren't you?
How do you feel about a do-over?
You're
I
expelled.
think that's a wonderful idea.
Oh, she's a lot more
But
forgiving.
maybe the older pony should sit this one out.
Thanks for helping.
She's like Mario now.
Pretty creative,
Wow.
right?
That looks like an eagle. Or a phoenix.
I know it's not traditional, but it sure looks fast, don't it?
Cool design.
You know, darling, I can't believe I'm saying this, but that yellow
Wow.
thing is rather bold
That
after
looks...
all.
I like the paint.
Thanks,
And the
everybody.
curtains.
We couldn't have done it without you.
I like that.
Yep, I sure am glad Miss Cheerily agreed to run the race over again.
Well, it isn't every year I get to say this twice, but Derby Racers to the starting line! Derby Racers to the starting line!
I'll do it only this once. It's the only time I'm gonna do it.
Racers! On your marks, get set, go!
Boogity 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 boys, let's go racing! Forgive me for that, would you?
And it's probably best keeping all the grown-ups on the sidelines. But what are we supposed to do now?
Watch.
I think I have an idea.
That'll work.
Much better. Honestly, I'm not sure why we wanted to race those carts in the first place.
Seriously. This is the most relaxed I've been all day. I mean, this is the life. Right, ponies?
Okay. That was definitely... Ooh, Derby Racers. Okay. Okay. Pause, stop, would you? Okay. Okay, I gotta say, that was a really good episode. That was a really, really good episode. And it was interesting that we actually get a Derby Racing episode, which is very, very unique. And I'm glad that they did it. It was interesting, and it did bring up some questions. Okay, which I will talk about. Okay, first of all, the story. And the story was, I mean, it was interesting. It's not the first time that we've seen the concept of one pony wanting, or someone wanting to do something one way, and then somebody else ends up doing it their way. It's not the first time that we've seen something done like that, but it was unique in how that it was done here. It was unique in how that it was done here. Excuse me. Pardon me. In that, oh no, you froze. Oh no, no. Will this play? It won't play. Oh no, no. Oh no, it froze. Okay, I apologize for that. My dang video froze, and now it's back. Okay, now as I was saying, I really like the concept of this episode here, of the cutie mark of the CMCs getting to actually participate in a derby race, which is really, really cool. And like I said, it was a similar concept, you know, with them wanting to ask their sisters or or a grown-up that they knew to help. And every one of the other characters ended up having their own ideas for building the cart and not building it the way that the CMCs wanted it. We have seen a similar premise before with things like that in the series, but I still think it was interesting in the way that it was done here. I do think that it was interesting in the way that it was done here. We got to see how each of the character interpreted that, and how each of the character believed in that. And so again, I think it's really cool how that they did that. And because they wanted to do it their way, they kind of ended up, well, it kind of backfired and they ended up crashing. But I think it was, again, I did really enjoy this episode, and there was some relatability in terms of how every single one of the characters looked at the carts and their designs and everything. So I think it's really cool how that they did that. I think it's an interesting glimpse at that, and I did enjoy this episode. While I can say that it's not my most favorite episode of this season, it definitely is a really good episode, and I really did enjoy it. It was cute, it was fun. And I did enjoy the song, and it was also really cool to be able to see the characters actually driving carts as if they were cars, and so it was really cool to actually see that. And so I think it's really cool that they did that. And the mayors learned that they ended up designing vehicles that they wanted to build instead of what their younger sisters wanted to build, and they sort of ended up taking control, and they ended up making it about them rather than about the CMCs. And so again, we kind of have seen that before. But again, I think it's interesting how that it played out here. And like I said, I really did enjoy it. It was a fun episode, and it was in fact a good episode to me. And I really did enjoy it. But there are definitely some things here to talk about. Okay, first off is how each of the characters looks at it. And for this, I'm going to kind of use modern vehicles as a bit of a reference point here. Apple Bloom wanted something fast. I mean, she wanted something fast and modern, whereas Applejack wanted something old-fashioned and traditional. And it's kind of interesting that, in a sense, I can slightly more relate to Applejack in terms of the traditional style, because with that old C10 of mine, I want to keep it traditional. I don't want to try to, modernize it. Some other people I know would take a truck like that, they would swap out the engine and put a Corvette engine in it, or put a Ford engine in it, and they would lower it, they would put a Corvette engine in it, they would trick it out to that on the inside it wouldn't really be the same old truck, and that's fine. I mean, I have nothing against that at all, but it's not my thing. I want to keep it traditional. I want to keep it mostly stock. A couple of little enhancements are cool, but otherwise I don't want to do anything that visually takes away from the truck inside or out. I want to leave it traditional. And I've been told that I am more of a traditionalist because I don't want to make any major modifications to it. And so I can a bit more relate to Applejack here in terms of that. And Applejack didn't want, she wasn't too fond of the more modernized style of how fast they are. Pardon me. She was more used to the old style of how the carts were actually designed. Me, myself, I'm a traditionalist, and I still prefer, the older style. Not that I don't like, some of the newer vehicles as well. I mean, I do like the newer vehicles as well, but I love, classic cars. But there are some newer vehicles that I really like, especially. I do like the new Dodge Charger. I do like the new Ford Taurus and the new Chevy Impala. And I do think, the new Camaros, Challengers, Mustangs, Shelby GTs are also really cool as well. I also think that they are really cool. I'm a gearhead, and so I like basically, I like any car, but I especially have a fondness for classic cars. Um, but I think it's interesting here that Applejack, however, was kind of shunning the more modernized vehicles, or carts in this case, and she was kind of shunning it, wanting to keep things traditional and not modernized. And in a sense, there's two different ways to look at that. There's two different ways to look at that. Neither are wrong and neither are really right. Um, Things have changed, and it's something where you can accept or choose not to accept. And it seemed Applejack wasn't exactly accepting of how that was. She wanted to stick with a traditional style. Now, for me, there are some modernizations that I do like in newer model vehicles. I do think fuel injection is good. I still like a good, healthy, strong carburetor, but I do think fuel injection is a really good thing. I also think disc brakes are a good thing. Airbags are also good. I'm not fond, however, I don't like catalytic converters, and I don't like the electronic brain in the vehicle that controls all the sensors and everything. Older vehicles didn't have them back then, so I'm not really a fan of it at all. And I hate automatic headlights. I hate automatic headlights. And I'm not a fan of automatic windows. I prefer old style window cranks. But again, it's kind of interesting to be able to see it from that perspective and to see that sort of that clash, that different mentality. If this was if the vehicles were put into this universe, I can see Applejack driving, and I know some fan art has shown Applejack to be driving something like an older model Chevy or Ford pickup truck. I haven't seen any fan art of her driving an old Dodge, but it could definitely happen. But I've seen her driving like older 40s or 50s, pickups. And it does kind of seem like something that, would be on the farm that she would be used to having. She would be used to driving it. It would be considered another apple, another part of the family. And I think it's kind of interesting that if vehicles were introduced, Apple Bloom would kind of probably have like one of the newer model vehicles. Apple Bloom would probably have like one of the new Camaros, one of the new Challengers, or one of the new Mustangs. And I think that's interesting. I mean, whenever you look at it that way, I think it's interesting to be able to see that difference in opinion between them. And we saw that clash between them, but we also got to see the acceptance. Like, they accepted mentally. They didn't directly acknowledge it, but they accepted that that they had different mentalities and different ideas, and they ended up respecting that. And the same thing could be said basically with Sweetie Belle and Rarity and Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo. Scootaloo, she's used to speed with her scooter, and so she didn't want to go for the fastest. She wanted to go for the most original, which is also interesting. And Rainbow, however, she wanted speed, and so she wanted it to be the fastest. And again, you saw that clash. Rarity wanted something to be the most exotic, the most unique design, and Sweetie Belle really liked the more traditional style. She was completely fine with that. And so again, it was interesting to be able to see that clash between them, between each of the sisters, between each of the girls, and to see that mentality between them. And Rainbow, Rarity, and Applejack ended up building carts that they thought, or that they would build for themselves, not what the CMCs wanted. And then, like I said, it's really interesting with that mentality, because it kind of, again, like I said, I can see and I can feel a sense of familiarity and relatability with this, because where I have a classic car or classic truck, and I went to car shows before, and some people more prefer a modern vehicle. Some people some people would not even give my truck or any other classic car even one look, let alone two, because they don't appreciate the old style. They want the more modern style. Others, on the other hand, are not fond of the modern style and prefer the old traditional ways. And some, like myself, can respect both for what they are and can find good in both. While I am more fond of the traditional, while I do really love the traditional styling of older classic cars, there are some newer models, of course, that do have some really beautiful looks to them. I definitely will not deny that. And so I can respect them still. But it was really interesting to be able to see each of the characters here have that different mentality and to be able to see that glimpse into them. And so I'm also really curious right now from this point onward, what fan art would have been cranked out from this. Like, has somebody already drawn a piece of fan art of, like, I can imagine a piece of fan art of Applejack on the farm, leaning up against an old 40s or 50s pickup, and Applejack or Apple Bloom leaning up against like a newer model muscle car or something. I can see that. I can see that. And so it's an interesting concept to actually think about that. And I can kind of also see like Rainbow Dash leaning up against a newer model muscle car, and Scootaloo leaning up against something unique, like a really something unique, like maybe an exotic car, something that was really unique for its time, or maybe like a custom-made motorcycle or something, and Rarity possibly driving around in something foreign, like a really exotic car, and like, let's say, a newer model Mercedes-Benz, or Porsche or something, or sorry, or like a Lexus, and Sweetie Belle maybe be driving around in like a 1970s Mercedes-Benz, something like that, or maybe one of those Citroens. I think that's what they're called. Or maybe driving around in a Volkswagen Beetle, and like a 60s Volkswagen Beetle or a 70s. I can kind of see that, and I don't know if anybody's made fan art of that or not, but I would like to see it. But again, it's an interesting concept, and it's interesting to be able to see that clash between the characters, and it was good that they began to realize how they each viewed it, and they accepted that. And it was also interesting to be able to see the concept of the vehicle, of the carts here, and see that design. And the cart that Applejack built was, oh my gosh, the reminiscent of the old horse-drawn carriages. You could consider that a pun, I guess, here. Of the design. And then you had the cart that Rarity designed looked like something that you would see at a theme park. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, it looked like one of the swan rides that you would see at a theme park. And the cart that Rainbow designed, it made me think of those toy Soapbox Derby cars. Or if you played Fallout, you might remember, those blue race cars, that you can find in Fallout 3. That you can find in Fallout 3, I believe it's in. That's what the cart looked like. It looked like that cart. And it was also interesting that that cart actually had rubber tires. Rubber tires! And the carts moved. It didn't show the characters' legs moving the carts. It didn't show anyone or any pony pushing them. And I know we saw the carts once before in One Bad Apple, moving on their own and having pedals. So I'm just kind of curious how much longer it'll be before they have an episode with carts being fully motorized. I don't know. Okay, we had something like that with Flim and Flam, But again, I'm kind of wondering about that. But again, it's interesting to see that modernization put into this. And I think it's also cool that Cheerly actually gets a little bit of spotlight in this episode, which is good, which is really cool. And we got to see some cuteness with Cheerly as well. And then we also got to see the CMCs not be focused whatsoever on their cutie marks. They just were just having fun and they just wanted to enter the Derby and have fun. And it's interesting to be able to actually see that. And then we had Rarity lose to Derpy. That was hilarious. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. That was cool. That was really cool and really cute. And I mean, I felt bad for Rarity, but again, it was awesome that Derpy actually won. And it was also cool that that Derpy actually got to participate again in this. She didn't get a speaking role, no, but I think it's cool that she got to participate. And I think that was also really cool. And then we got to see this other character here, this other girl with the red hair. Pause, will you pause, please? Thank you, jeez. With the red hair in the white and blue cart, and I think that was really cool. I think that was really cool. I really love her. I really love her design. I don't know what her name is yet, so I'm sure we'll see that at some point. And of course, I noticed that Dinky was not in the cart with Derpy. Now, I know that some of the fandom, I know exactly that some of the fandom are going to be saying, how come Dinky wasn't put there? Well, there's a good logical explanation for this, if some people would actually take the time to actually think about it logically. Which is, excuse me for a second, let me confirm something. Okay, yeah. One thing I'm going to confirm right here. Okay, first off, going back, as you can see in this classroom, Dinky is nowhere here. Dinky is not in this classroom. Okay, so she's not here. So one could say maybe she's at another school, which is possible. Maybe at another school, and so that's why she wasn't present here. And it said that Cheerly's rules were that they had to pick someone to help them build the cart. She didn't say that it had to be a relative. So this Colt, this boy, obviously there's a possibility, I theorize, that a backstory is probably honestly, he wasn't in the class either, but still, there's a possibility that he wanted to participate in it, but he knew Derpy had won once before, possibly because he is a friend of Dinky's. And Dinky, I'm just going on the bounds. I'm just basing it. I'm just theorizing here that for the sake of this, that Dinky is either Derpy's daughter or is Derpy's little sister. And so, been playing with Dinky, probably saw some of the pictures of Derpy having won, and so decided to ask Derpy if she can help him. That's my theory. Of course, I don't expect that they're always going to show Dinky with Derpy, because then, there's been plenty of people that have speculated. There's plenty of fan art and speculation that Dinky is related to Derpy, and so I can understand why the animators and the writers would not have them be together all the time, because it definitely would add more fuel to the fan fire. And so I think it's interesting that they mixed it up for this. And well, we did see that other episode, of course, in Blood or Brother, where Dinky was with another character. And so again, Daisy, I think it was. Don't hold me to that. So I do think it's interesting that they mixed it up and they didn't actually make it consistent. But again, I think it's really cool that Derpy was here and actually got to participate. And in terms of the cart designs, I got to say my favorite, that is Diamond Tiara. I did not know that. Okay, I didn't pay any attention to that. I just now realized, okay, I have to say, I think Diamond Tiara's cart is my favorite one. Because it kind of, the way that the hood is, the way that massive hood looks and everything, it kind of makes me think about like some of the Porsche Roadsters, like some of the Porsche Boxsters or something, um, or the older 60s or 70s Jaguars or Aston Martins, like was it the Aston Martin? It kind of makes me think the design of it kind of makes me it's kind of like a convertible version of, I think it was James Bond's Aston Martin DB5, I think it was the silver one. Don't hold me to that. I know it's an Aston Martin. I don't know if it's I believe it's an Aston Martin. I think it might be a DB5, but this kind of has a bit of a similar design to that. And so I think it's interesting. It's kind of designed off an exotic car, off a foreign car, and I like that design for it. It has the most realistic appearance. Derpy's car is made out of wood, which is interesting, and which kind of makes you wonder, is that thing would have to be hollow, because if not, that thing would weigh like crap. That thing would weigh a lot and not be possible of obtaining that speed. Going downhill, once it got some momentum, yeah, but then you'd have no brakes. And I think it's also cool that they painted the one on the side. And then we have this other purple car, which again also has a traditional soapbox style. And then we have Snail's car, which looks like a barbershop pole. I love the design though, but it does look like a barbershop pole. Wait a minute. Maybe that's the connection. Snips. Which is that Snails? Or is that Snips? Whoever, one of their name is Snips, and he has scissors as a cutie mark. Maybe his father is a barber, and so that's where they got that. It's a theory. I'm probably wrong. I also like the design for the white and blue car over here again, because again it has a traditional soapbox derby design. And again, I think it's really cool to be able to see that. There's some really beautiful designs here. And we got to see the design for the track. And we got to see some really awesome camera shots. I really like the overhead shot of the characters and them looking up. And I think it was also cute to see Cheerly dressed as a cheerleader. That was also interesting to see. And we got to see Bulk Biceps come back, which was cool. And again, we got to see Derpy participate, which is cute. And then the crash in the center. And like I said, at that moment, with that, not a figure 8 exactly, it made me have flashbacks to that old PlayStation 1 game, Destruction Derby, the figure 8 track. There was another game that had, there was another game for the PlayStation 2 that was a Destruction Derby thing based. Okay, the game that I was talking about was Flat Out, and it was a PS2 game, and there was actually a figure 8 track on that one as well. And this had memories of that. And whenever I saw that, I just thought, oh boy, they're going to crash. And sure enough, they did. And boy, everybody crashed. Like, everybody. Okay. Whoever designed the track obviously had played way too many Destruction Derby games. But it was interesting to see that. And everything just got completely destroyed. And completely crashed. Everybody survived. No injuries. They were all wearing their seatbelts, which was a good thing. I'm glad they actually animated it to show them put their seatbelts on, which is a really good lesson. And so, again, I did enjoy this episode. I did enjoy this episode. And one thing, I will apologize again for the boogity, boogity, boogity boys, let's go racing deal. That's what happens whenever you grow up in the South and you've watched NASCAR before. Granted, I haven't watched a NASCAR race in a long time, but yeah, I watched some races back. I watched some races before, and so yeah, I know about Darrell Waltrip's iconic starting line. So yes, I know. But again, I did enjoy this episode. I think it was really cool how that they did it. And then we got to hear Rainbow at the end do that cheering on. We got to hear Rainbow at the end cheering on Scootaloo in that wild way, which is really cool. You can tell that she was really, really excited for her. And so that was really cool. And again, I think it's really cool. Like, we got to see that sister element with Rainbow and Scootaloo as well, even though it's never been confirmed that she's officially Scootaloo's sister. She pretty much is. I mean, like, she is the sister image. She is the sister icon for Scootaloo. So I think it's really cool that they did that. And we got to see more of that as well. And so, I think it's cool that they did that. And again, we got to see some new background characters, and we got to see, like I said, I think this was a cute episode. I think it was a cute and fun episode, and there was some really good, there was some really good fun to it. And we also got to see some really awesome designs with some of the carts later on. I do like the design. I can honestly say the Apple cart, how that they designed it after it was finished. I liked Rainbow's design initially better. Not that I don't like the Apple design here, but I do like the design for the spoiler on the back having a leaf appearance, and I also think it's interesting how that it has fenders over top of the front tires, thus to keep gravel and everything from flying up against the driver, but it doesn't have any on the rear tires. Because it's going to be kicking them back behind the car. So I think that's interesting, and a very nice detail. I also think it's cool that it has like an old apple barrel, like an old apple cider barrel design. And I'm waiting for the edit. Somebody puts like the Super Mario Kart logo or something on this. I know that it's going to happen. And they edit the Koopa shells, the freaking Koopa shells. And I also like the design. I really like the design, honestly. I think that the design for the old cart that Applejack made, it was really cool. But I have to say, I really like the updated version with the frills and the curtains on it. It definitely gave a sense of It definitely gave it more. It definitely gave it more of a refined look, more of a sense of elegance. And it definitely looked like something that you more would have seen people probably writing back then. And again, I think it's really cool that they did that they did that. And the designs again are really, really cool for that. And we also got to see the mayor's at the end dressed up, and oh gosh, it just hit me now. Going back over this last scene here where that shows Rarity and Applejack and Rainbow Dash standing together, I just realized Rainbow's wearing a red cap, Applejack's wearing a green. Mario and Luigi. So who is Rarity? Wario? Luigi? I don't know. Waiting for that edit to be done. I know the fandom will do it eventually. I know it's going to happen. But yeah, whenever I found out that it was about karts, I wondered if it was kind of like a racing concept. And of course, I grew up playing Super Mario Kart 64, and that was my favorite one. I do know that there are other iterations, later versions of Super Mario Kart. And I haven't got to play any. I think I played one at a store. I think it was the first Mario Kart that came out. I think it was one of the other Mario Kart games that came out back in the early 2000s. And I remember playing a little bit of it in a store. Actually, I think it was around keep thinking it was around the time that Super Mario Sunshine came out. I think it was, because I didn't have the GameCube at the time, and so I didn't have Super Mario Sunshine, but I was wanting to get it. So I think that was it. But again, I really like the design for it. I think it's really cool how that they did that design, and I think it's really cool how that they made the episode and the references and everything that they put into it. I really like that. And so, like I said, this was a fun episode. I did enjoy it. It isn't my most favorite episode of the season, but it is definitely a fun episode, and I do really enjoy it. It's a fun episode, and it's an interesting episode because, like I said, it does bring up some interesting things in terms of the carts and everything. And I do think that with a couple of things that they're doing this season, it's kind of making I think it started with season 5, but I think this season, especially, perhaps that's just me, but it appears that they're trying to put just a bit more modernization into some of the stories, into some of the things that go on, like the reference to fandoms, cosplaying, and fan fiction in the Stranger Than Fanfiction concept. Fluttershy telling her brother to get a job in Flutterbrudder, and now with this episode, Soapbox Derby Racing, and the concept of like again what Shirley was talking about, as well as a cart having rubber tires. Interesting. And so, really interesting. And so again, there are some interesting things. And again, I'm wondering if there is any other, since this episode aired, if there's any other fan art of anything like crossover between MLP and Super Mario Kart, or Mario Kart. I'm sure there is more things out there. I just haven't looked it up yet. But again, I think it's interesting, and I do enjoy this episode. So thank you guys again to everybody that worked on this episode. Thank you again to Hasbro, to DHX. Thank you everybody that worked on this episode. Thank you for making this episode. It was a fun episode, and I did really enjoy it. And so I want to hear what you guys think as well. Please let me know what you think in the comments as well. And thank you guys again for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.